and served and worked for as senator from New York. That's what kept me working so hard in the Senate on behalf of 9/11 families. That's who I was thinking of 10 years later in the White House Situation Room with President Obama when the decision was made to bring Osama bin Laden to justice. That's the kind of commander-in-chief I will be, someone who will bring us together in common purpose to keep our people safe and our country strong.
Madam Secretary, the latest Real Clear Politics average has you up by an average of 2.8 percentage points over Donald Trump. Given what you say are his historic inadequacies and disqualification on the commander-in-chief point that you just made, shouldn't you just basically be running away with it at this point?
Well, as I've said many, many times, I've always thought this was going to be a close election. That's why we've been putting organizations in place, gearing up for these final weeks to mobilize and turn out our voters. That's exactly what we're going to do. And I feel we're in a strong position, but we're not taking any place, anyone, anything for granted. We're going to keep working as hard as we can and hopefully pull out as many voters who agree with me as we possibly can muster. Hi, Jeff.
You said unequivocally last night that you would not put troops into Iraq ever again. Isn't A, that ignoring some ground forces who were there, and B, boxing yourself in should your military commanders, if elected, advise that you in fact need to do that?
Well, Jeff, first of all, I've said that before. I've said it on numerous occasions. I believe it. I think putting a big contingent of American ground troops on the ground in Iraq and Syria would not be in the best interest of the fight against ISIS and other terrorist groups. In fact, I think it would fulfill one of their dearest wishes, which is to drag the United States back into a ground war in that region. However, I've been very clear, and I said this again last night, I support the air campaign, I support special forces, I support enablers, I support surveillance, intelligence, and reconnaissance. I will absolutely be prepared to do whatever is necessary to support the Arab and Kurdish fighters on the ground, to take out as much of the infrastructure of ISIS from the air, to go after Baghdadi, as I said today, with a very focused commitment to taking him off the battlefield. I think the approach I've outlined intensifies what we are doing, but also recognizes that there is no, in my opinion, path forward to ground troops that would be in our interests.
Hi, good morning. Secretary Clinton, you've been criticized by the RNC for your demeanor last night, that you were too serious, that you didn't smile enough. Can you react to that? And also, you suggested that there is a double standard. Do you think that you're treated differently in this race because you're a woman?
Well, I'm going to let all of you ponder that last question. I think there will be a lot of PhD theses and popular journalism writing on that subject for years to come. I don't take my advice, and I don't take anything seriously that comes from the RNC. We were talking about serious issues last night. I know the difference between what we have to do to fix the VA, what we have to do to take the fight to ISIS, than just making political happy talk. And I had a very short window of time in that event last night to convey the seriousness with which I would approach the issues that concern our country. Donald Trump chose to talk about his deep admiration and support for Vladimir Putin. Maybe he did it with a smile, and I guess the RNC would have liked that.
Thank you, Madam Secretary.
Like the hat.
Appreciate that.
Is this a new look?
No, it's kind of an old look now.
Oh, you're bringing it back?
I'm bringing it back.
Been shopping in your closet?
You got it.
Yeah, I do a lot of that.
Last night, Mr. Trump suggested in some of his security briefings that the briefers made a suggestion or an insinuation that they were not pleased, the CIA was not pleased with the decisions that the administration and President Obama have made so far. Did you get that same impression in the briefings that you got, and can you comment otherwise on that suggestion from Mr. Trump?
I think what he said was totally inappropriate and undisciplined. I would never comment on any aspect of an intelligence briefing that I received.
To a different standard, and what does that mean for you going into the debates?
That's a very fair question. I have been somewhat heartened by the number of articles recently pointing out the quite disparate treatment of Trump and his campaign compared to ours. I don't understand the reasons for it. I find it frustrating, but it's just part of the landscape that we live in, and we just keep forging ahead. Look, I think this is a really important moment for everybody in our country, as you have seen by the numbers of Republicans concerned about Trump coming forward and saying, this is not acceptable. They are willing to put their names out there. People who've never endorsed a Democrat, people who've never endorsed before, because they are so concerned about this man and how totally unqualified he is to be president and how totally temperamentally unfit he is to be commander-in-chief. So I know that he says outrageous things on a pretty regular basis, and I know that's part of the coverage, and I know that it may be difficult to feel that you know exactly how to respond to some of his behavior, but we're on the brink of making a very critical decision for our country. And if I were not the candidate, if I were not the nominee, if I were just a concerned citizen, I'd be out here doing everything I could to sound the alarm about someone like Donald Trump getting anywhere near the White House. And I will continue to do that. Well, you can look on the map and find Aleppo. I love you, Andrea. You are indefatigable. You're my kind of woman. I'll tell you what. Look at this. Okay. I know. Go ahead. Go. I mean, the sympathy vote, the whole thing. I love it. Yes. Matt Olson, right. 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 No, that's not true. Well, look, I mean, the Republicans are just in a terrible dilemma trying to support a totally unqualified nominee. I have no sympathy for them. It's their nominee. But I am not going to tolerate them continuing to make misleading, inaccurate accusations and putting out misinformation about me. And here's the latest example. Matt Olson, the very distinguished and effective former director of the National Counterterrorism Center, was so disturbed by what he has seen coming from the Trump campaign that he wrote an article that I guess came online in the last 48 hours, pulling from public sources very clear statements by ISIS leaders, essentially throwing whatever support they have to Donald Trump. They have, as Matt Olson pointed out, said they hope that Allah delivers America to Trump. They have said that they hope that he is the president because it would give even more motivation to every jihadi, someone who has insulted Muslims, has insulted a Gold Star family of an incredibly heroic Captain Khan, someone who has said he doesn't want to let Muslims from around the world even come to our country. That is a gift for ISIS, and that is what Matt Olson, who knows more about this than the Republicans trying to somehow muddy the waters, very clearly stated. That's what I mean. And look, I'm not asking for any special treatment. I know the road that I'm on. I've been on it for 25 years, and I just get up every day and keep moving forward. I love this country. I will serve it with my entire heart, mind, and soul. I will do everything I can to protect America, and I will do everything I can to make sure Donald Trump is not president for many reasons. But this latest information coming from a distinguished counterterrorism expert should put every American's mind in motion to try to figure out what everyone can do to prevent Trump from being the president. Thank you.